McCarthy not ready to go, according to the Minnesota Vikings, and they will start Carson Wentz once again. Kevin O'Connell sticking with Wentz. Colin, it's not like there's a controversy here. Wentz has not been good. Here's Kevin O'Connell talking about keeping Carson Wentz at quarterback.
JJ, the medical staff, myself, we're all kind of encouraged about where he's at and the progress he's making, but he's just not there. And if this was a Sunday game, maybe it would be a little bit of a different story. We wanted to have a plan at the quarterback position, and it'll be very similar to last week. Carson will start, Max will be the backup, and JJ will be available in the case of emergency as the third.
Okay, I'm not going to speculate, but the whole thing is weird.
Let me give a little more context. So they have the Chargers followed by the Detroit Lions, a divisional matchup that means a lot more than this non-conference one. And I think, my guess is, because O'Connell, remember, he picked McCarthy over Sam Darnold. My guess is they believe a healthy McCarthy gives them a better chance to win an important game against the Lions on November 2nd. You buying that, or?
I want to watch it. I've had my doubts from the very beginning. This was the one quarterback in the draft class I didn't see as an NFL franchise quarterback. I'm not saying he can't play in the league, but I wouldn't build around J.J. McCarthy. That is how I project his career is. You'll find out very quickly he's not a franchise guy. Could be wrong, been wrong before. I love Drake May. I love Jaden Daniels. I love Caleb Williams. I love Bo Nix. I thought very highly of Penix, who's been hot and cold, but all young quarterbacks are. But he was the one I had doubts about, and he was the one that everybody told me was going to be the star. That was the way, everybody, and I kept saying, folks, my eyes don't lie. He made about one big throw a game at Michigan. That's not the NFL.
Jim Harbaugh, remember, was hyping him. Jim Harbaugh, obviously Jim. Coaching the Chargers, probably happy to face Carson Wentz. Do we have some Wentz numbers on the screen here? Colin, since taking over in week 4, only one quarterback has been worse than him in passer rating.
He still remains way too reckless.
What? I mean, yeah. And in the pocket, he doesn't inspire confidence. I don't know. I don't have a bet on this game Thursday. Chargers are favored by 3 off that bad loss to the Colts.
I'll take the Chargers.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's talk about this. This is actually a pretty weird one. Because JJ's not there quite yet, but in case of emergency, will be available as a third string quarterback. If you're not healthy enough to play or prepared enough to play, then I'm not so sure why you're throwing him out there in like this doomsday scenario where like every quarterback's just getting knocked out of this game. It's kind of weird. And and if he's saying, listen, he's healthy enough to play, but we just think we can't prepare him for the game itself, right? Like the game plan and etc. And so we want just a more veteran presence out there. But then that's also concerning. So either way, it's weird. Like let's just map this out as clear as we can. You're saying, listen, I don't want to start him because he's not 100% healthy yet, and so we want it. If it was Sunday, we give him more days of rest. But if everyone else gets injured, we'll throw him out there. That doesn't really make sense because if you're not comfortable starting him because of health reasons, then you shouldn't be comfortable playing him at all. Then, right? You just shouldn't then. Like that honestly is very cut and dry to me. Now, if this was like a playoff game, right? If it was like a playoff game and it was just like a true doomsday scenario, then I could understand. But like, it's not. And you're talking about, you're expecting JJ to be your future. So if you don't think that he's healthy quite yet, there would be zero reason then to play him. You're either healthy enough to play or you're not. It's very binary. There's just a line that gets drawn. It's not like, well, if the 2 other quarterbacks get knocked out, then we could throw him in. And if you're saying, okay, no, it's not that. He's healthy enough. So therefore, that's why we're okay in a doomsday scenario with 2 quarterbacks get knocked out. We can throw him in there. But we can't prepare him yet. And it's just like, okay, but then you're comfortable having 2 backups play in front of him rather than your young up-and-coming quarterback. Now, I've said this a million times, that it's okay for young quarterbacks to struggle and that, a seasoned veteran, even a backup, can be put in a better situation to succeed than a young up-and-coming quarterback just because experience matters. I've been very loud about that philosophy that I personally have. But sometimes that philosophy gets broken a bit. You know, it's these philosophies, these rules are not meant like you only follow this no matter what. Sometimes the decision is, yeah, this is how I normally feel, but you know what? We got to do something. We got to mix something up. Now, to be fair, Carson didn't have the best game last weekend, but I don't think Carson was a disaster either. The one interception was just a bad decision. Like, that was reckless. That was bad. The other one was just an unbelievable defensive play. I mean, he kind of had to throw. Not kind of. He would have made a nice layered throw. He got rocked. He got leveled. And it was just, I think it was Greg Olsen or whoever it was. Like, they highlighted him just like that was just a beautiful defensive stance. I don't think we talk about that enough for some of these interceptions or for some of these sacks and fumbles. We always just attribute it to the player at hand, and I don't think we attribute it enough to the defense at times, and that's what that was. That was just, you know, I'm surprised Carson even got up after that. And then Carson made some really great plays, but then he also made some bad plays, and you know, and missed some throws. If he minimized the recklessness a little bit, as Colin said, you'd be in business here. But he still obviously knows how to get the job done, and he can still put you in a position to win some games. Like, he still got the Vikings into the red zone 6 times, right? Like, they couldn't bring it home. They couldn't get it past the finish line, but there still is a lot of juice there. And I think that's ultimately what Kevin O'Connell sees, because Kevin O'Connell is obviously the head coach and obviously the quarterback guru. So he's thinking to himself, listen, there's still a lot more versatility here of what I can do, and a lot less translation that I have to do with an experienced veteran quarterback. That's what I think can kind of put us in the situation. If I put JJ into the Chargers game, there's too much translation that I'm going to have to do throughout the course of the game, and he just doesn't feel comfortable that will be enough. But it is interesting, because the New York Giants are like, we don't care throwing Jackson Dart. We need something. We need juice. We need this. We need that. And granted, I think it's fair to say that Carson Wentz is a better quarterback at this moment of time than a Russell Wilson. But I don't know. You could argue that's not the case. I wouldn't. If you said you need to have a quarterback right now, who do you want, Russ or Carson? I would pick Carson, and I literally just posted a whole video defending Russell Wilson. So it's like, you know, it's not anti-Russ sentiment or anything like that. This is where you do just have to trust Kevin O'Connell. But again, if it's an injury, then it doesn't make sense that he's even remotely available. It makes no sense. None. Zero. And if it's not injury and you're just like, well, we just don't feel comfortable putting him out there yet. Not even as a second string quarterback then? Like, it is weird. It is. I do find it genuinely weird. If he's injured, then there would be no reason for him to play even as a third string quarterback. There's just none. None. You're not going to convince me otherwise. This is an injury that he's missed multiple games for now. So you're not going to, like, if he's not fully healthy yet, you're not going to just now throw him in there. It doesn't make any sense. The risk is way too great for the reward. And if you're saying, well, he's just not ready because he's a young quarterback, but he's third string ready, I could understand still keeping him as the second string then and be like, we still want Carson out there. But if Carson goes down, listen, I know JJ's not what we want him to be quite yet. There's still plenty of development. I still got to translate a lot. I still got to call, have a specific approach. But to have him as a third string, like, it's weird. It is. I stand by that. It's weird. I can't explain it. I don't know exactly why. But any of the explanations that it could be, injury or preparedness, none of it makes sense. None of it actually makes sense. Unless Kevin O'Connell thinks that he genuinely would struggle to put J.J. McCarthy in a position to succeed if he had to play against the Chargers, whether it be as the starter or in like a, second string capacity. Yeah. It's weird. It is. I'm curious how Minnesota Vikings fans feel about it. Yeah. I'd be fascinated to know. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all generally feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.